There are a few curious halachot connected to Adlakat Neirot that I'd like to remind you of. Curious, but each of them reflect a certain idea. The first halakha is that women customarily don't do melacha, don't work, when the candles are lit. The exact amount of time that they don't do melacha, the melachot that they don't do, are subject naturally to dispute. But there are those who say that it's just a half an hour while the candles are lit, because that's the amount of time that the candles have to be lit in order to fulfill the mitzvah. But there are those who say that the entire period of time that the candles are lit is the time that is referred to. And in any event, when we say that they're forbidden from doing melacha, what we mean is that they don't do labor during that period of time. It means that they don't do the kind of work that we don't do on Chol HaMoed. So they shouldn't wash clothes, they shouldn't iron clothes, they shouldn't write things that are... So, I mean, it's not really an oppressive kind of a limitation. And the reason for it is kind of unclear. But we have to remember that Chanukah, the lighting of the menorah, is connected to Bayit. It's the creation of an aura in the home. And the person who is very often charged with creating an aura, with being the person who is in charge of the spirit of the home, is, after all, the wife, who often, not always, but often is the one who is at home with the children, teaching and learning together, one thing and the other, so that the fact that the woman is not working during the time that the candles are lit, while her husband may have gone off to shul to daven Maariv or to do whatever it is that people do when they leave the house, says that sort of is a determining aspect of the spirit of the home, which the wife is always very involved with, and so I think this minhag of women not working during the time of Hadlakat Neirot makes sense and should perhaps be accepted more and more. If the women have a question about what it is that they're not allowed to do, and what they should refrain from doing, they should speak to the local rabbi. Another point that is important to remember is that Chanukah is an 8-day holiday. And it's not obvious at all why Chanukah should be 8 days long. After all, if you're celebrating the victory of Chashmonaim in a battle, well, I mean, 1 day would be sufficient. It's true that the miracle was an 8-day miracle, but as miracles go, it could have been a 1-day miracle. They could have gotten somehow, the oil could have fallen down from heaven in 1 day. What is the connection between the 8 days and the notion of Chanukah? So it's also noted that at that time, the Jews performed an act of Chanukat HaMizbeach. They renewed the functioning of the Mizbeach. And therefore, we sing the praises of God, and we eat sudot, meals that are sudot mitzvah, that are mitzvah meals. And therefore, the 8 days, which was the number of days that were designated for Chanukat HaMizbeach, suddenly makes sense. It's an 8-day holiday. It's true, the miracle was 8 days, but that could be celebrated in 1 day. The war took much longer than 8 days, but could also be celebrated in 1 day. But somehow this idea that we have to connect to Chanukat HaMizbeach, to the reestablishing of the avoda of Bnei Yisrael of the Mizbeach, that idea is reflected in the fact that Chanukah is an 8-day holiday.